We are live at Studio 21 Media, and I'm your girl, Lady Finitra of the Lady Finitra Show. And listen, we are missing Nico today. Where are you, Nico? Nico is all over the place. Anyway, we are live here on waen-tv in Atlanta. It's a beautiful day in Atlanta. But I want to send my prayers out to all the evacuees and victims of the hurricanes that have been happening. My thoughts and prayers are with you guys, and we send our love your way. So, we have an exciting show today. I'm with the beautiful Minister Sean Brooks. How are you?
Hi, Lady Finitra. I am so glad that I decided to be here with you today. Thank you for the invitation.
You are welcome. Girl talk, girl
Yeah,
talk, girl
girl
talk.
talk. I,
Yes.
I have a disclaimer.
Okay.
I'm struggling with voice.
Okay.
So if you hear my voice crack, just keep talking.
Girl, I feel you. My allergies are kicking in right
Okay.
now. So I'm with you,
Okay.
girl. I'm with you.
Alrighty.
So tell us, we like to take it all the way back. Tell us, where are you from?
Well, originally I am from South Carolina.
South
Beaufort,
Carolina.
South Carolina. Grew up there. Actually, I was born in New York. Though I was
Okay.
born in New York. Came to South Carolina to live. I used to go back and forth to New York. Still have a lot of family in New York. But
Mhm.
in South Carolina, I like to tell folks I'm a country girl from South
Country.
Carolina. Yes, ma'am.
Love it. So how did you end up in Atlanta?
Oh, how I ended up in Atlanta. Well, I was in the military. I am a veteran.
Okay.
And I was about to ETS, get out of the Army. I was in Germany, and they said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I think I want to go to school. Well, where do you want to go to school? Not very sure. So it was really like eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Really?
And Atlanta came up. I said, okay, let's come to Atlanta. And I came here to go to school. Went to DeVry.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
it. So how was it going from South Carolina to Atlanta?
Well, there was a pit stop because, like I said, I was in the military.
Right.
So the question really is, how is it or how was it like going from South Carolina to a whole nother country?
A whole nother country. Oh wow.
Because I wound up in Germany. I did my basic training at Fort Jackson in South Carolina.
Okay.
And then they shipped our whole class to, well, I came to Fort Gordon for school.
Hmm.
And then they shipped our whole class to Germany. I was 19 years old, 18, 19 years old,
Oh
and they
wow.
were telling me, yeah, you're going to Germany. So I just remember on the plane going overseas, and this is going to sound crazy, but this was a real thought. I wonder what the moon looks like over in Europe. But I got a chance to find out it's the same moon.
Right.
But it was a great experience. Loved it.
Love it. So we know that you wear so many different hats. So many different hats. And I'm so excited to talk about them all. Tell us, how did you get your start in acting?
Start in acting probably started for me in the seventh grade. I took a drama class and saw how things happen in the drama arena. Also, growing up,
Hmm.
I had this one cousin. He actually teaches drama at the University of South Carolina. He writes, he films, he does it
Oh,
all.
that's awesome.
But when we were growing up, there was a whole bunch of us first cousins. You know how that is, hanging
Right.
out at grandma's
At
house.
grandma's house.
Yes. So what we would do is every game show that came on, we
Hmm.
would reenact it. And from what was that one show with Bob Barker?
On The Price is
The
Right.
Price is Right.
Price is
Oh, we
Right.
used to
Yes.
redo The Price is Right. All our toys were the prizes, and we used to actually make our own credits. We
Oh,
had
you guys had it
Oh,
going
we had it going
on.
on. Yes, yes. We would also make up our own lines. We would script our lines, and if you didn't say it right, because he was the director, he would make us get it right. But we would have fun just acting out all of the show. Oh, the stories.
Oh, yeah, at grandma's house, the stories
We
were
would
played, and you had to
yes,
be quiet.
yes. We would react the scene out, and that's what really got me interested in acting. Um, and I really didn't take it seriously until I got to Atlanta. Yeah.
So tell us about your experience within the film industry in Atlanta. How has it been for you?
It's been interesting. It's been up and down, around and around. When I ca- what I first did, when I got interested in acting, I did plays here,
Okay.
and one of the first plays that I did was entitled, if can I say,
Yes.
yeah, one Sunday morning.
One Sunday morning.
I played a grandmother and a mother. I played the mother to Tony Terry was actually in that play. It was an awesome, awesome cast, and um, I always wanted to play an old lady for some reason. And when I remember when I did the audition, I had so many voices in my head. I said, which old lady do you want? I had like
You were
three. Yes,
prepared.
I was
Prepared.
prepared. Of a matter of fact, I always said, if they ever do the movie Miss Jane Pittman again, I want to play Miss
You
Jane.
want to play Miss
I want to
Jane?
play Miss Jane. How far back you want to go?
You got it. You got it.
How far?
Cast her.
How far back? Okay, but anyway, but yeah, I did that play, and I things just kept going on and on. I would do some auditions, and then the background scene in Atlanta really is hot.
It
So
is.
I've done that. I've done um, a few movies, Amaya's Christmas, and I think it actually came out as Almost Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Um, did some things with the one rapper. What's his name? I can't call his name right now. I didn't even know who he was, but I know that everybody else knew who he
Okay.
was, and I was in. Can't call the name of that film, but I've done several films here in the Metro Atlanta area.
What are your thoughts about the film industry as far as it's growing in Atlanta?
It's growing. It is growing rapidly.
Right.
Um, Many opportunities to make your footprint.
Hmm.
Um, and on a personal note, I'd like to think that they could pay a little more.
Right.
However, but it's a really good opportunity to get your face and your name out there.
It is. You done the theater, and as well as the acting. Which one do you love the most?
I lean more towards theater.
Okay.
Simply because you are allowed to be yourself in the moment.
Right.
In the film, you can cut, from the top. But when you're on stage in theater, the first time out is that's what we're
You
working
gotta
with.
keep
Yeah,
rolling.
gotta
Have to
keep
keep
rolling,
rolling. Have to keep
and a lot
rolling.
of times it's fun. And you have to think very quickly to get your way out of, to dig your way out of, oh, that was the wrong line.
Right.
Or I fed the wrong line to someone, and now I have to help that someone get back on track with their line. So,
That would probably be
yes,
me.
yes, yes. So it's a lot of fun, interesting. Yes.
Love it.
hmm
So you write as well
Love to write.
and produce.
I love to produce. To tell you the truth, Lady Furniture, I really am more of a background person.
Are
Yes,
you?
I struggle with being in front, out front. I had a preacher prophesied to me many years ago that I would be out front, and I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But it seems that that's what is happening. So, writing, I love to write creatively.
Hmm.
I remembering ever since I was in school, elementary school, my mother taught grammar school,
Okay.
and she taught English. So, writing was my thing.
Hmm.
Um, I'd like to think one when I get my dream home, there's going to be one room in there where I can write on the walls just whatever I
Oh,
want.
that'd be so awesome.
Yes,
That'd be so. My
yes,
kids do that. They don't have
yes.
their.
But writing narratively,
Right.
telling the story, yes, I love to write. I write everything down. I'm going to write something about this when I leave.
Ah! Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yes.
Tell us, what is your creative process when it comes to writing?
Wow. The creative process. I don't think there really is a process for me.
Okay.
It just all comes at me, and then I narrow it down.
Okay.
It's a full gamut of whatever the topic, whatever the subject, whatever I am experiencing in the moment or have experienced in the past. A lot of times I think of something that happened way back when. My sister always says, "You never forget anything," and I just want to write about it. Yeah.
Love it.
hmm
From going from writing to producing, Tell us, how did you end up as a
Well,
producer?
well, after you write, it has to come alive, right?
Right.
Yes. So, and I have an overactive imagination. I like to make things happen.
Mhm.
I like to think I have a gift for start up projects.
Mhm.
So I see it in my head. Matter of fact, when I'm dealing with my cast members, what I say to them when we're in rehearsal, walk this thing out in your head first before you come out on stage. Walk it out,
Walk it
because
out.
yes, because I need for you to already have an idea of what you're going to project and what you're going to feed the people. So I just work it out in my head and produce it. I mean, one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time.
When you're in the process of casting your actors and actresses, what are you looking for? Because we have a lot of actors and actors watching, and they're like, "Okay, I want her to cast me
You
next."
know what? For me, and I'm going to be so totally honest with you,
Okay.
I look for heart. I look for um, your interest in what I am doing, what the project is doing, the 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 subject matter of what we're doing. If you're looking, and I tell my folks this all the time, if it's from the superstar to
Mhm.
the one that's just coming out, if you're just looking for a paycheck, this probably is not the project for you.
Mm.
Yeah, heart, heart.
Heart.
Yeah,
Heart. Love it.
and a giving heart as well.
Love it.
Hmm.
You know, a lot of people are very passionate about it, and like you said, a lot of people looking for that check, that quick come up. Love it. Tell us, you did a stage play, and I was there one night, and it totally blew me away. Totally blew me away. Tell me about your stage play.
Well, that play is entitled Faith Was the Substance.
Yes.
And every time I say faith was the substance, everybody always corrects me. Faith is the substance. But for me, I am a breast cancer survivor.
Wow.
And going through dealing with the issues of having breast cancer, being diagnosed, in order for me to overcome that, how I overcame, faith was the substance for me to help me to overcome having breast cancer.
Tell us about your journey because we know that October is coming up and
Hmm.
everybody is breast cancer this, breast cancer that.
Yes.
But you actually experienced it. Tell us.
Yes, well, of course, faith was the substance is my true life story of
Hmm.
how I dealt with having breast cancer, overcome coming and dealing with the adversities of life while having this diagnosis hanging over your head. Um, when I tell you, God kept me still during the entire process of my healing process. I had two surgeries. And yes, I still have my boobies. They're all mine. Because every time I say I had breast cancer, everybody's eyes kind of lull a little bit. Yes, they're
Right,
mine. Okay.
right.
But I did have to go through chemotherapy, and I wish chemotherapy on no one, not even my
Mm,
worst enemy. And I had to go through some radiation. Um, and I capture all of that in the stage play. Faith was the
right,
substance.
right.
I make you laugh. I do make you
Hmm.
cry.
Yes, for
But
sure.
oh yes, and I also challenge your thoughts about ministry, women in ministry,
Yes.
in the play, and it really is a love story of life. That's what it really is, and just how one person overcame. It gives the uniqueness of it is it gives a visual
Hmm.
to someone who's experiencing breast cancer, who's going through, or who has a family member, because um, when you have breast cancer, it affects everyone
Right.
around you. It affects your friends, it affects your family, it affects your job. So I capture all of that in essence in the play.
And it is well done, well
Thank you.
done. Everyone needs to see it. I was crying, I was
Yes.
laughing, I was doing all of that,
And
girl.
but Lady Furniture, another thing that interests me, and it comes to life after the play. all of the cast members become counselors. I do have a small background. As a matter of fact, I have a degree in biblical counseling.
Okay.
And when I tell you, people come and they ask, well, how did you really deal with it? I have a sister
Right.
who have breast cancer. I have breast cancer. My mom won't take treatment anymore. How did you do it? And I prepared the cast for that. It's just not a play. That's why I have to be in tune with your heart when I cast
Right.
for the play, because people, they're coming at you with real life issues, and they really want to know your heartfelt answer to how and why.
When did you realize, okay, I want to tell my story?
You know what, Lady Finitra, again, when I was going through, got my diagnosis, I told very few people.
Hmm.
My circle was very small. I just that was a time where God kept me in solitude. He kept me quiet, and he came at me very subtly about what he wanted me to do down the road with this experience. And I said, no, maybe it's the drugs I'm on,
Right.
I'm hallucinating a little bit.
Right.
But a stage play, and then when you say true life, my real life,
Right. Just to be so
to be
transparent. Yes.
transparent and candid, and folks really want to know. They always want to dig just a little bit deeper, because there is one scene that deals with my love life at the
Right.
time,
Mm-hmm.
and I was very candid about that.
You were.
I almost cut that part out of the play several
I'm
times.
so happy you did not.
Several times. I hope it helped someone.
It did.
but
Trust.
yeah, he came to me very subtly, and he knows his child, so he
Mhm.
gave me a little bit, then a little bit more, and then a little bit. Then I said, okay, so who's gonna pay for all of this? Okay,
Right.
because you're talking about producing a play and hiring a cast and all the above. You're talking about building a
Hmm.
set, and yeah, yeah. So he gave it to me, and
He gave it to
yes, he
you.
gave it to me.
That is such a blessing, such a blessing. And I'm just in awe on how you can tell your story so boldly.
You know what?
Because, I mean, it's bravery going on all over,
I
situation
don't
going on right
I
here.
don't I don't think so, because I'm not really the brave one, but as the people that I met on this road, we all have issues,
Mm,
and there's always someone who you can say, "Wow, I'm so glad that this is my issue and not that."
right.
So bravery, no, I just know that we all have issues, and when I see someone else overcoming or dealing with what they have to deal with, I'm like, okay, breast cancer, let's go,
Let's go. I got this.
Yes,
I have
yes,
this.
yes.
Tell us, have you experienced any adversities when it came to you telling your story?
Adversities, yes, because it put my life on a different road. I
Hmm.
got my diagnosis the end of 2012.
Okay.
And the type of person I am, Lady Furniture, I'm a planner. I already had my 2013 planned out.
Really?
Yes. And when I got my diagnosis, it put me on a different path. I had to think about healing, and make sure that I'm being obedient to God at the same time, because I know he shared with me that he was going to use me with this ordeal. Um, so the adversities came with the change of direction in my
Mm.
life. Yeah, and it's a long healing process. I'm going into year 5,
Oh,
and thank you,
congratulations.
of being cancer free. I don't use the R word because I'm cancer free,
Right.
and the mere fact that he's brought me this far um, is something to be really glad about.
And I am so happy that you are able to tell your story the way you are because so many people are going through right now. And I mean, just to wake up and knowing, okay, the doctor says I have cancer. What's
Yes,
next?
yes.
What's
You know,
next?
and I make folks laugh all the time. When I got my diagnosis, the doctor came into the room, the little
Mhm.
small room, and told me what it was. And of course, I was in immediate denial. those are not my boobies on that screen. You put my name on some, you know,
Right.
you, that's not me, you know. And then you're going to come in here and tell me that I have cancer without a knife or anything to cut it out of me, you know. I need immediate attention here.
Exactly.
But, you know, just even in the recent, I want to say the recent, the last month, I've gotten a call from two young ladies,
Hmm.
and both of them that I know one from a church, and the last person I would think to have breast cancer.
Hmm.
She called, scared,
Right.
just wanted to talk. I have another young lady that I talk to on a regular basis now. She got her diagnosis just 3 weeks ago and already is taking chemotherapy.
Wow.
She's in South Carolina, and I offer words of encouragement. I made her laugh last night. She had her first round of chemo, and I think she's realizing she's going to make it.
She's going to make it.
Yes,
Our prayers are with
yes,
you, young
yes.
lady. Tell us about your experience with chemo, because I just want to paint this picture, because she is sitting here just as beautiful and bold, and you say you're not, but you are. To be able to tell your story. A lot of people sit on their testimonies, and you're not doing that. You have it on Front Street, and you're helping so many people. And I just want to take them on this journey of how you were able to go from chemo to looking as beautiful and bold and doing all these amazing things to help others, sitting right here,
Thank you, thank you.
cancer free.
The experience with chemo, first of all, the unknown. You've heard about other people having to endure chemo.
Mm-hmm.
And when the doctor said, okay, you're going to have to take this chemo, I'm like, okay, your hair's going to fall out? Okay. I'm okay with that. You know, I've had long hair, I've had short hair, I've had no
Mm-hmm.
hair. I'm okay with that until that first dose of medicine gets into you. And
Okay.
of course, we have to prepare for chemo. You have to have your port put in,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the way that the medicine is administered. The one thing I would say is I used to sing with a gospel group, and
Okay.
the one song that I used to tear up on the road, it had a line that said, late in the midnight hour, when my body's racking with pain. I
Mm,
used to sing that song like it wasn't nothing until I had to take chemo. And late in the midnight hour, when my
mm,
body was racking with pain,
right.
mm,
Mm.
those words became real to me. And it was heartfelt. So glad that I had friends. I had one friend, Levita. Thank you, Levita.
Thank you, Lavita.
Okay, Levita would come over and she was lay in the bed with me. And if I moved, she moved. You
Just like
okay?
that.
Okay. If
Right.
I move and if I made a sound, you okay? You okay? Do we need to go to the doctor, to go to the hospital? But the experience with chemo, and let's talk about the nausea.
Right. Mm.
Uh, Lady Furniture, there were times, I'm just going to be honest, that um, I didn't think I was going to make it. And there were times where I didn't want to make it,
Really.
really. And
Really.
you're talking to someone where, and this is one thing that actually got me through, is laughter. Um, both sides of my family, comedians, all
Really.
of us, we love to have fun. When I tell you silly, the cornier the joke for me, the better. I love to have fun. A lot of people don't know that about me, how silly I am. Love to have fun. But when it was time to go to the doctor, if you could not make me laugh, you couldn't go with me.
Stay home.
That's right, you couldn't go
No
with
need to
me.
come.
But yeah, chemo. Mm, I wouldn't
Mm.
wish that on my worst enemy. Matter of fact, I told my sister, I said, my, after my second round, I told her I wasn't going back. Go ahead, buy the casket.
Really.
I'm not going back. Whatever's in me, we're gonna take it on to heaven. Okay,
Really.
yeah.
Well, I am so happy that you're sitting here just as beautiful and strong as ever. Where does that passion come from to keep fighting, keep going?
Well, you know what? I think that's an innate characteristic that I have. Folks always say, and I can remember as a child, if I am on the team, I'm so passionate about it.
Hmm.
I take it to the extreme. I'm going four left to get it done. Okay, very passionate about the things that I am interested in. Um, some folks I take it say that I take it too far sometimes, but never too far for a good cause.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So, are there things that you feel like, okay, I have another chance at life? Are there things that you feel like, okay, I have to do, I have to do, I have to do, I have to do?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head with that one.
Okay.
Um, after my ordeal, I did a
Hmm.
lifestyle change.
Okay.
So the whole eating meat thing, I don't eat meat anymore.
Oh
Um,
wait, pause. How is that for you? Because I'm on the fence. I'm like, I'm
girl, get
double
off that
dutching with
fence.
it. Cause I seen the video and everything. Y'all put on Facebook and
Get
all
off
that
the
other stuff,
fence. Come on
grossing
in.
me out with the meat. Y'all gross me out.
Come on in. Come on in.
So I am changing a whole lot of things,
Hmm.
but I'm on the borderline with the
Girl,
meat.
get
Tell
off that
tell
fence.
me, how did you
Because,
do it?
because I realized that it's the things that you have to be mindful of what you put in your body.
Right.
I don't even call it eating anymore. I
Hmm.
say, well, what am I putting in my body today? To kind of help me to think about what I'm actually putting in my body. And, you do some research and guidelines, read guidelines about the food and where they
Right.
come from. And that's scary.
Very scary.
Very scary. Very
I
scary.
just want some farmland
Yeah.
and vegetables
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all
yeah.
that other stuff.
And
Yeah.
the first and it took me two tries. The first time I tried to get off of the meat, I failed miserably,
Did you?
but I broke it down to where I was just eating chicken.
Okay.
And then someone showed me about where the chicken comes from. Okay, so I said, okay, we're gonna have to stop eating this chicken. But it was a command decision. It is mind over matter. You have to
Mind
really
over
think about
matter.
the things, your daily diet,
Right.
and be serious about that thing. I feel great. Of course, when you give up eating the meat, you have to intake your protein, get your protein from other sources, and
Right.
be very careful not to increase your carbs just because you're not eating meat.
Yeah, I think that'll be a problem for me.
Yeah, yeah, but you can do it. You can do
Okay.
it. Yeah,
I believe. I got the
yeah,
faith.
yeah. It's when I tell you it's so many non-meat products out there, it's really really good. Yeah, and I'm not just talking about the soy and definitely not soy or the tofu stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You're going to have to give me some cooking lessons.
Now I did not give up seafood. I'm from South Carolina.
Okay. So
Okay,
I can keep the
so
seafood going.
okay, yes,
All right.
gotta have my seafood.
What other lifestyle changes did you make?
Bumping up the increase in exercise. Exercise. Now, I have
Okay.
always been an athlete. I played basketball in high school. I played basketball in the military. I have my ball at the house right now. If you want to, okay, if you
Baller.
want to go play a game of horse or whatever, because I ain't running too much these days. Okay, I'm gonna have to beat you from the outside. But I still play basketball. The thing is, getting folks to go with me these days. They don't want to play with the sister,
They
okay?
don't.
And especially not a girl, because if a guy plays with a girl and gets beat by a girl, okay, so you know where I'm going with
I know
that.
where you're going because I just beat my son about 2 weeks ago and he
Wow!
was hot. That boy was so mad at
Yes!
me.
Yes!
He kicked the fence, he
Yes!
threw the ball, everything, because he couldn't
Yes!
believe that
Yes!
I whooped him like I
Yes!
did. But he
Yes!
doesn't know that we had like a semi basketball court goal
Yeah!
thing in our backyard growing up. And I grew up with
Yeah!
brothers.
Yeah! Yeah!
So we were out there playing all the time. We had nothing else to do but to play.
Yes! Yes!
And
Yes!
so my dad used to let me play with
Yeah!
the guys and all the other different stuff. So I know how to shoot.
Yeah!
I know,
Yeah!
and
Yeah!
I was killing him. I
Yeah!
was like, "You don't want this, son?
Yeah,
You
so
don't want this."
yes, I have upped up the exercise. So when I can't get to the court, or if I don't go to the court, I'll do some laps in my neighborhood where I live. I
Okay.
still run a little bit, um, or should I say fast walk?
Fast walk.
My running days are over since the military,
Okay.
but I burn some calories every chance that I get.
Love
Yeah.
it. Tell us mentally, what changes did you have to make?
Um, you know what? And I'm glad you asked that question, because I am so big on the cognitive approach to things.
Mm,
I believe that everything starts in the mind, your thought process. That's the platform for everything that you experience in life.
right.
So again, being passionate and being mindful of the things that I like to accomplish. And I put my mind to it. When I put my mind to it, that's a done deal.
That's
I
done.
um I am about to release two singles for the play, and I haven't done the graphics yet. I thought that I had the photo shoot done, and
Mhm.
don't like the photos that actually came, and I did that about a year ago. So I said I'm going to do this photo shoot again. But for a long time, I have been a size 12.
Mhm.
And you know, when you stand up in front of a camera and you're a size 12, you actually look like a size 14.
Tell me about it.
So I said, I put it in my mind. I said, okay, I'm gonna get down to the size 10 so I can take these pictures. So at least I look like a 12 on the on the graphics, right?
Right.
So I just put my mind to it. I'm almost there.
You're looking good,
I'm
girl. You're
almost
looking
there. I'm
good.
almost there. Thank you, thank you. But size 10 is my goal for right now, and I don't care. You can offer all the cheesecake and peach cobblers all you want. I'm nope, don't want
She is focused.
it.
Focus,
Yeah.
focus, focus. Now, you are a minister as well. Tell us about that journey.
Wow. Okay. Now that I can just say it really is God. I remember I started seminary at Carver Bible.
Okay.
That's off of Cascade. And I remember just as good on that day going to sign up for the classes, telling God, I don't even know why I'm here. I ain't trying to be no minister. Why you got me down here? Okay. I want to be a pharmacist. I'm down here signing up for these Bible classes. I had that conversation with him, okay, while I
Really?
was signing, okay. And I started there because, again, my passion and my train of thought, if I am going to do something, be something, I need to know everything that I possibly can about that subject matter.
Hmm.
So I started seminary at Carver Bible.
Okay.
I'm actually am working on my master's now, Master
Oh,
of Divinity, and I love my studies. I love learning more and more and more about Jesus Christ. At my church, I'm one of the ministers in training there, but I'm the go person.
go
I don't do well within the church walls.
okay.
If you ask me to do something at the church, it's done. I sing on the praise team. I pray. I'll say a word, and have done so. I've traveled. I've done conferences. The last one I did was oh, should I say the last big one
The
that I
last big
did
one. Okay.
was with Jackie Clark
Oh
down
wow,
in
that is a big
Kansas.
one.
Yes, down in
Yes.
Kansas.
Hi.
Yeah, and we had a ball down there, and I am the go person. I am outside of the church walls. My ministry extends to my foundation and helping others overcome breast cancer. But if you call, I will come. I have a word. Now, it's not going to be the hooping and all of that you're getting.
You don't
I'm
need all
okay.
that
I'm
all
not
the
yelling.
time.
My whole thing about ministry is teaching.
Okay.
I want everyone to understand. You know, there are so many people that go to church and do not understand this thing called salvation. Go
No,
every Sunday.
but they had a good time and hollering, shouting, and carrying on,
Yes,
and
yes, yes,
but
yes.
you ask
And
them what the preacher said, or they don't
yes,
remember.
and the different doctrines,
Yeah.
putting it all together and really understanding what it means to make it on in. Shouting and dancing is really good. I can dance with the best of them,
Not right
you
now.
know, and I love to see others have fun in the spirit.
Hmm.
But I need for folks to understand because it's going to be a lot of nice people who don't make it into heaven.
You're right about that.
Yeah, a lot of giving people who don't make it into heaven.
You're right
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then there's a lot of ones that in church right now who won't make it.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I have a passion for those who have been church hurt, who don't want to go to church. You know,
Mm,
who can say, yeah, I love God, I love Jesus, I know Holy Spirit, but I'm not going to church. And my argument against that is, if you say you love Jesus, Jesus loves the church.
mhm.
You know, if He loves the church, you're gonna have to love the things that He loves.
Okay.
So um, it's on my mind and in my heart. I don't care how many people hurt me. People hurt me. I'm going to church. Okay,
I feel
okay.
you, girl. Friend.
Really, it ain't going nowhere. Okay, you can be
Right.
mad at me all you want. I'm gonna be
Right.
right there on that second row. Okay.
How do you minister to those that have been hurt by church? Because, you know, a lot of times we're putting our faith and hope into the past, the
Yes.
pastor, the bishop, the this, the that, the person with the title. But people don't realize that person is just a mouthpiece. And so you have to look at them as being human as well. And there's a difference when you have to divide that from the human side of them into the godly side of them. And a lot of times we're just looking at the human side and not paying attention to, is it God that is using them or not? Because the devil uses people too.
Yes, 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 yes.
Right. So how do you deal with people who have been hurt by leadership of the church?
It just with everything you just said,
Mm-hmm.
just bringing to the forefront in the light that these are people,
People.
and God is using them, and He's using them on a continual basis,
Mm-hmm.
but He's also using them in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Open your ears to hear. Let it saturate the heart. It's not about me.
Mm-hmm.
It's about you getting to know your Creator. It's
Right.
you getting to know Jesus Christ, His Son. It's you getting to know it. Holy Spirit,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So how I minister to them is taking the light off of the man or woman who is actually bringing or presenting the word, and inviting them to open their heart to receive the word and
Right.
receive God through it, through that process. Let God let him in.
Let him
Let him
in.
in. Let
Let
him
him
in.
in.
Yeah.
And when you let him in, he will show you what's right and what's wrong
Absolutely.
real
And you
quick.
know what? The preacher, he doesn't always get it right.
Right.
But when you have that connection with God, he'll tell you, that's not what I said. That's not
Right.
what I said. This is what I need for you to get to that. So when you open yourself to God, to Holy Spirit, he gets in and he takes over and he leads and points and guides you in the direction that you should.
Every single
Yes.
time.
Every
Every
time.
single time.
Yes.
Tell us about your journey as a woman minister.
You know what? I have heard the stories, and maybe it's just my mindset or my thought process. I don't care what folks think about
She doesn't care.
preaching, women preachers. Matter of fact, that the school that I go to now don't believe in women preaching, and I've heard so many women. Why would you go to that school? I wouldn't go to that school.
Mm-hmm.
So who gonna stop me from preaching?
Who gonna stop you?
Okay, who's gonna stop me from preaching? Okay, I get it.
Love it.
I get it. Um, I don't pay too much attention to the negative or
Mm-hmm.
the naysayers that say that I should not. Yeah, I believe that I can be used. And if God wants to use me, I'm available.
I love that. We have to realize that we all are ministers in some way, form, or
Yes,
fashion.
yes,
Even if you don't realize you are.
yes,
People are watching you
yes.
live your life in such a way that they can learn from it.
Absolutely.
Especially when you are telling your testimonies and telling people what all you've been through. You're ministering
Yeah,
to them. So
yeah,
I love the fact that you keep going in
yes,
spite of,
yes.
the negative part of the ministry.
And we all are really commissioned to go. We're not all
Right.
leaders, but you what Matthew 28 and 19, and you have Acts 1 and 8.
Right.
It says go,
Go.
go, be a witness, and after the Holy Spirit has come, you will be empowered, or the power will come after the Holy Spirit, and you'll be a witness. Yes, we are. We have to go.
What are your thoughts on the younger generation right now when it comes to church? Because they're not coming with grandma anymore. Mm-mm.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm going to step. I'm going to walk the line here.
Okay, go ahead, girl. We on the Lady
Okay.
Felicia show. We can do
Okay,
that.
okay, because I was going to say you may
We
have
can
to
do
cut
that.
this part out. But you know what? As a culture, and I don't
Mhm.
like to use culture and our Christian faith in
Mhm.
the same context, but because that's an easy segue into legalism and culture and the way we do stuff. It's in the box,
Right.
but as a culture, we are probably the only faith believers, because I don't like the word religion. I don't like
Okay.
that word.
Mhm.
But we don't teach the tenets of our faith to our children.
Mm.
And when you talk about the children and the younger generation, um, just like you said, they're not coming to church with grandma.
Mhm.
And a lot of our children are lost.
Very
Very
lost.
much so.
Very lost.
And our enemy has a vendetta against our youth. I recently worked at one of the larger church here in the Metro Atlanta area, and I was over the children's ministry.
Okay.
I was in charge of the babies to age 12.
Oh, I love them.
Oh yes, and what I learned quite quickly is our children. They can tell you everything about. They know God.
Mhm.
They can tell you everything about Jesus.
Mhm.
I had one of them tell me. I said, "Well, tell me something about Jesus." He said, "He was a robber." I'm like, "No, not exactly." Well, he was up there with the robber. Okay, not exactly. Okay, but they can tell you everything about Jesus, but they don't know Holy Spirit. And
So that's what's
Holy
missing.
Spirit is who tells you to do what you should do on a daily basis, because that's what we have now. When Jesus ascended, he left the comforter, right? He said he would not leave
Right.
us alone. So that's who we have to help guide us and lead us and our children on a grand scale. I,
Mhm.
I would say, I can't say all of them, because
Right.
some of them are really getting great guidance.
Right.
They Holy Spirit is absent or far from them. Um, so the tenets of our faith, if I had the opportunity to work with children again, ground zero. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Because I'm noticing that a lot of them are walking around just angry
Hmm.
and lost.
Committing suicide.
All the above.
What child wants to commit suicide?
Like, how does that thought
Enter into your
enter into
mind.
your mind
Yes.
and grows? It starts off
Yes.
as a seed and it
Yes.
grows and develops to the point that you don't love yourself enough to
Yes.
cherish your own life.
Yes.
And it's just so sad to me that a lot are going out sad. What advice do you have for um, the parents that has a angry child or just walking around confused?
My advice is right back to Holy Spirit.
Right back to the
My
Holy Spirit.
advice is to put your concerns, cast your cares
Mm.
upon Him. Take it to the Lord. My advice is to the parents is to educate yourself, get an understanding, open up your heart about what God has in store for you and your family,
Right,
and again, spend time with that child. You
right.
know, most of the children, they have their iPhones, their telephones, their little pads and all this stuff, and there's
Mhm.
no communication, or very little
Mhm.
in the home. Like I just shared, I was over the children's ministry, and the stories that I heard. Um, and again, I'm so passionate about. I wanted to go home with a couple of them.
I
You
know
know,
the
you have
feeling.
the conversations with the
Right.
parents, and I had several parents because of what I was teaching the children,
Mhm.
and I made them do homework.
I
Okay,
love
from
that.
Sunday to Sunday, from Sunday to Wednesday. If you're here
I
on
love it.
Wednesday, you got some Jesus homework. Okay,
Jesus
yes, you
homework.
sure
Give
do.
your kids some
And
Jesus homework.
yes, and some of the parents would say, "I'm learning. I didn't know that. I didn't know that about I didn't know this, and my child is teaching me this." Yes, yes, that's good that you guys are actually talking about it in the home.
Right.
Yeah,
Basically, going back to the basics.
back
Taking
to the
everything
basics.
back to the
Yeah, that's
basics.
back to the basics. I truly believe that there's a call on the kingdom right now. There's a
Mhm.
call over the churches,
Mhm.
going back to that first century church.
Mhm.
Um, Teach and preach Jesus. Everything else will fall into place.
Going back to that first love.
Yes,
That first
yes,
love. And we're noticing because with the hurricanes and everything that's going on, it seems as if, in my opinion, it seems as if God is trying to bring us all back together because we've just been
yes,
so divided as a
yes,
country, as a people, really, just divided over color, skin, all this other stuff, race, gender, and all this other stuff. But at the same time, God is pushing us back together to make us realize that we're human
and I'm
first
yes,
before you see the black, the
yes,
white, the whatever. We're all human, and when one hurt, we all should
yes,
hurt. And so, with the hurricanes, even though it was bad that people lost lives and houses and really don't know where to go from here, but as a nation, it really showed me that we can get back to the
yes.
basics of loving one another.
I am so in agreement with you on that, and I think I'm going to express it in a different way. That there is, I feel that there is fertile ground to
Mm,
make progress in the areas that you're speaking about: racism, this color of our skin, the divide.
right.
There's fertile ground right now, and I think that when we all pull together,
Hmm.
we'll be able to see a difference in society.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And it was even though it was tragic to see, it was also beautiful to see people of all races and colors just come together helping each other.
Right.
That was just beautiful, from the fact that we were literally marching and protesting about certain
Yes.
things a week before. So it was beautiful to
Fertile
see.
ground.
Fertile ground. Love it. Plant these seeds
Yes,
now and let them
yes.
grow. Let them grow. Let them grow. How is it for you as a woman minister, just, I want to say, just starting your ministry up? Because we know that, a lot of times people are catered to the men ministers and pastors and preachers and stuff. But you have started your foundation, your ministry. Tell us about that.
Well, you know what? I'm such a hands-on type person.
Okay.
Um, I'll share another nugget with you that last fall I did a stint as chaplain at one of the hospitals in the metro Atlanta area. And for me, again, I'm probably not the best candidate for the inside the four walls. Okay.
And to pause right there, it's not that many women chaplains at the hospital.
Absolutely not.
I
Because
know for a
I
fact.
have many stories to tell you when they call for the chaplain and my face walks in. Oh no, 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 no. I called for the chaplain. Okay, but this
Who
is
is this? Who
okay.
is this?
Yeah. So
Nurse.
that whole piece of tapping into humanity,
Mm,
I don't, I don't. How am I going to say this right? I don't look for the pedestal.
mm.
And to tell you the truth, I don't allow myself to get up on the pedestal. I treat everybody the same, from the bishop to the person at the door to the janitor. They get the same respect. I do respect title. I do.
Mhm.
But as far as treating people, everybody gets the same from me. What I
Love
do for
it.
the bishop, that's what I'm going to do for the janitor.
And that's the key. That is so
Yes,
important, so
yes,
important.
yes,
Because a lot of times we just get so caught up with titles,
yes,
and
yes,
pastor can't even blow his own
yes.
nose. Somebody got to blow it
Yeah,
for him,
and I
and
get
it's
it.
just
I get it. And you know, in some countries, it's an honor for someone to carry your
yeah.
things for you, your books. Look,
Hmm.
if I'm going to the pulpit, I got this.
I
Okay,
got it.
thank you,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay,
But
yeah,
we understand that a lot of people see um, the pastor as the next to God.
yes,
And
yes,
so
yes,
they feel like, okay, if I worship him,
yeah,
then I'm worshiping
yeah.
God.
And
But
that's where we get off track.
we get off
That's where we get off
track.
track.
Get
Yeah,
off track.
yeah,
God didn't call you to
yeah,
worship
yeah,
men.
yeah.
He called you to worship him.
Right,
So
absolutely.
I love that. I love that. Tell us about your foundation.
Oh, foundation. How much time do we have?
Girl, we got a little
Okay,
time. We got a
Abiding
little
Love
time.
Foundation. Okay, so that is the foundation that God gave me
Hmm.
um, when I was going through my ordeal with breast cancer. How can I help others? How, Lord? Okay, you say I'm going to help others. How am I going to do that? And that's what He gave me to house the play. That's what He gave me to be able to help others in the need of breast health care.
Hmm.
In July, the foundation gave or provided mammograms for 26 women in the metro Atlanta area
Awesome.
who did not have insurance.
Awesome.
Yes, one of the things, and when I got my diagnosis, I didn't have insurance.
Really?
Could you imagine somebody telling you have cancer and you don't have health insurance?
Girl, I'll pass out right there on the table.
Okay,
What
really?
I'm
So, and I met so many women
gonna
along the way on the journey who did not have insurance but needed the chemo and the radiation and all the breast health that they could get. And so Abiding Love Foundation, we've been doing the work for the past 3 going into 4 years now, but
do?
it's been official for the past year and a half. um, and again, the play is housed there. When we do the play, it's done under Abiding Love Foundation to raise donations to help.
Right.
I would like to take the play on tour.
It needs
um,
to go.
it needs to go,
Yes.
yes, and I want to continue to help, and not just women, men, families who have been burdened with the disease of breast cancer. So Abiding Love Foundation is alive and well.
I love the fact that within your play you talk about all the aspects of being burdened with the cancer, especially for the men. Like we talk about what the women is going through,
Yes.
but what is my partner? I
Yes.
mean, it's like he's been diagnosed too,
Yes. Yes.
as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
What is your advice for men who have been diagnosed with the burden of breast cancer?
Get over the stereotype. Go get your go get checked.
Hmm.
And whatever treatment that is offered to you, live.
Live,
Live.
live.
Yeah. And on a side note, you said that men are diagnosed as well. When their women are diagnosed, they
Right.
are diagnosed. And I thought you were going to allude to a part in the play.
I don't want to give it
Okay, I
all
don't want to
away,
give it all
baby.
the way
I
either. Okay, but
Y'all
men,
have to see the play.
yes,
See it.
men,
It
they
is awesome.
they are affected. They are
They are.
affected,
They are.
and either they're gonna man up and love you through it.
Uh,
Okay,
okay.
that's all I say on
Right.
that.
Right. And also the children as well,
Absolutely.
because they're used to mama being
Yes.
all joyful and bubbly, and
Yes.
chemo days. I'm pretty sure that
Yes.
that's not going on.
Not going on.
Not going
Yeah,
on.
for me, day three, I would be. Day three, I could not move. Day one of chemo, I would sleep like a baby, and till this day, it was the best sleep I've ever had
Really?
on day one of chemo. That night, oh, the
Really?
most peaceful sleep. But day three, couldn't move. Like a Mack truck hit me.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
can't imagine. I
And
mean,
I would have my chemo on Fridays, and I would put a mental note in my head. I'm going to church on Sunday. I'm going to church on Sunday. And after church, that would be it.
that would be
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Many times I would sit in the back of the church, and just cry, 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 cry.
Mm.
They think I don't know what they thought I was just crying about, but yeah, 'cause that was a lot.
So at that time, not a lot of people knew
Not a
what
lot
you
of
were
people know.
going through.
Not a lot of people knew.
So we never know what people are
Yeah,
going
you never
through.
know.
Never know
You
what
never
people
know.
are going through.
Yeah.
How did you? I just want to get it all out there. How did you mentally? You really had to psych yourself out.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's another nugget of the why of Abiding Love Foundation.
Mm.
Because, like I said, I do have a passion and an interest in a degree in biblical counseling.
Mhm.
But doctors heal bodies, and I found that the women that I've talked to and their families, what is not addressed is the emotional healing,
Right.
the mental healing that is necessary for one to become whole again.
Right.
So again, like I said, after the play, we all become counselors
Mhm.
talking. A lot of times folks just want to talk. A lot of times folks really do need help.
Mhm.
And I do partner with a counseling organization here in the metro Atlanta area for those women or family members who need some emotional help with
Right.
this disease. So yeah, the whole thing about coping emotionally, and I'm one of those people where a lot of times folks don't check in on you because they know me or see me as a doer. I'm always the helper.
The strong one.
Yes, yes,
Oh
yes, yes.
gosh.
But when I tell you, many nights I cried. Okay, many nights
I
I
just
cried.
feel you right
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
because
yeah.
even though I didn't go through the breast cancer, it's just dealing with things emotionally. You
Yes,
just have to
yes,
psych
you
yourself
do.
out, psych
You do.
yourself out, and see yourself well. Imagine
Yes,
yourself well.
yes,
See
yes,
yourself doing the things that you
yes.
want to do and used to do, and you're right here on this couch because you did so.
I had to. It was sink or swim.
Sink or
Live
swim.
or die.
Girl, you
Yeah,
better say that.
yeah. Live or die.
Love
Yeah.
it. So tell the people, how can we reach you, get in touch with you, because I'm pretty sure you're finna gain some more fans, girl. I know it for sure.
Well, you can definitely reach me at abidinglovefoundation.org. If you'd like to make a donation there, you can.
Please make a
Yes,
donation.
yes. And the email address is abidinglovefound
Okay.
at gmail.com.
Abidinglovefound at
Yes, yes.
gmail.com.
Yeah.
When I tell you that that stage play is a life-changing stage play, it really is, and it needs to be all over the world, not just America, all over the world. So I'm praying on that for
Thank you.
you, and it will happen. It
Thank
shall
you.
happen. What advice do you have for um, people that have so many hats like yourself?
You know what? And I get accused of that a lot. I'm guilty.
Okay.
And I had someone to say, well, what do you call that? There's not even a name for what you're doing. And I say, yes, there is. That name is conglomerate.
Say it again.
Conglomerates, yeah, that's what it is. Um, what I say is build a team, cause and stay focused. When you are dealing, just like you said, with so many different things,
Hmm.
it's easy to get off track.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
and I truly believe that God keeps me in solitude, that I won't get off track.
Right.
So I appreciate the alone time. I don't associate too much and too often. I do love to network,
Hmm.
um, and friends are few.
Friends are few.
Friends are few. The circle is small, but
That's important.
that would be the advice that I would give. Stay focused and stay in tune with our Creator.
Love it. Lastly, what advice will you give for, let's say, the younger you? If you're looking out at this young lady sitting out in the audience and she reminds you of yourself in your younger days, what advice would you have for her, knowing that you're older, you're experienced, you're mature? What advice would you have for her?
That's a really good question. I am so glad you asked that. The younger me, I would say get a mentor as early as possible. Someone that's on your
Mm,
team, that's on your side, that got your back all the way around, that has vision as you do, and understands your direction.
mm,
Yeah. Yeah, I like to tell folks sometimes I'm a late bloomer, but I'm blooming.
you're blooming.
Yes,
You're
yes,
blooming.
yes.
And it's never too late to start.
Absolutely not.
Never too late to start. I am so happy that you stopped by the Lady Fenitra
Me too.
show.
I am so glad that I'm here. I'm so glad.
Again, tell the people how can we find, because I want to make sure that you guys send a donation to her organization because she is out there helping people and changing lives for the better. And just to go through breast cancer, God forbid, I've never been through that, but I can't imagine. I know people, and I know survivors, and I know those that haven't survived. So just you doing your part within this. And a lot of times we're giving it to organizations and we don't know where the money is going. We
You
have no idea.
right,
No
right.
idea. So she is actually out in the streets helping people, caring for people, ministering, doing all these good things for the cause of breast cancer. We know October is coming up and we have all these fundraisers
Mhm.
and this and that, walks and runs. Donate some of that money to Miss Shonbrook.
To the community, right here. You
Yes,
see it
right
right here
here.
in the Metro Atlanta area.
Making a
Yes,
difference, making
yes.
a difference. Tell us again, how can we donate?
You can go to abidinglovefoundation.org. There's a donate button there. Lots of pictures and the things that we have been doing in the community, bios, and just more information about Abiding Love Foundation.
What do you see yourself doing in the future? We probably have about 5 more minutes.
In the future, continuing on to make a difference in the community, definitely helping ladies and
Mhm.
men, um, as it relates to dealing with the disease, um, and tapping into that emotional care.
Mm.
Again, the body, if you get the treatment in time, the body's going to heal. But long after you are feeling back 100%, you still have that emotional scar there. You know, the people that were on your team, but then there were some people that you thought were on your team.
That's a whole nother
Yes,
show,
yes. So
baby.
you realize that
Yes.
they weren't really on the team,
Right.
and the betrayal and all just the things that would affect your emotional aspect. Yes.
So it's very important that you have an awesome support system.
Absolutely, absolutely. I shared with you earlier
Mhm.
that I got a phone call from one of the ladies at the church that she just got diagnosed and she was just scared out and she was just boohoo crying on the phone. And she said, I don't know what to do. And that's the first thing that I told her. I said, remove any negativity and all negativity right now from your life. That's the first
Girl,
advice that I gave her.
you just ministered to me right
Yes,
now. You
yes.
just really ministered to me.
Because you're going to need all that energy, all the positive energy that you can possibly muster up and gain from anyone else to be able to to overcome this.
And she is a living
Yes,
witness.
yes,
Living
yes.
witness. How many years you been cancer free
I'm
again?
going into my fifth year.
5 years.
Yes, thank you. Yes, it doesn't seem
Congratulations.
that long though, but yes, yes,
Congratulations. I am
yes.
so proud of
Yeah,
you, and I'm looking forward to all the things that you're going to have coming up.
thank you.
And I'm just so excited to see where God is going to take you next. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my
Thank you.
gosh. Well, you have been watching the Lady Finitra show, and don't forget, get my book, Sacred Tears, Walmart, Barnes and Nobles, Books a Million. It's actually being turned into a stage play as we speak, and I'm so excited. Hopefully, we can get started in January. But I'm so excited. It's my personal testimony of how I was able to overcome many different obstacles. So please go out and get that book again. That's Sacred Tears by Finitra Brantley, and support Miss Shawn Brooks and
Thank
her
you.
plays and everything that she has going on. What's the name of your play again?
Uh, Faith was the
Faith
substance.
was the substance. Coming to a city, town, worldwide. We speaking it into existence. Thank you guys. You have been watching the Lady Finitra show on waen-tv here in Atlanta, Studio 21 Media. I love you guys. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.